Hello and welcome back to Retrotainment Recast. As you can see, I am back after a brief work absence last week when the King so happily stepped in for me. Cheers for that, Paul.
You're welcome.
So I stepped back a week, even though I finished second in the triple threat. But such is life. Such is life. As you can see, the Sherlock has been dethroned and is about to start another losing streak. Fuck you, Sherlock. We were joined tonight by the new champion of the business, Mr. Ted Irving. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I not good because we had to do Goodwill Hunting, but good other than that. Great to rewatch. Not fun to recast.
Amazing rewatch.
Not fun to recast.
I mean, it's a huge cast as well for most of it.
Mm.
And we're joined by the challenger, which always seems to be the challenger when it comes to his time.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the King.
How are we? People's champion is still in effect. Telling you now.
I mean, now The Rock actually won championships. You don't.
Hey, shut up. I'm the first ever triple threat winner. Okay, so that's something.
It's true.
Yeah.
True.
By the way, yeah, this was my first ever time watching this, much to my own detriment. It's a great film. Not overly as into it as you boys would be, but the acting is so good. And yeah, I struggled, but I got a list together, so this could play into Ted's hands tonight.
I struggled as well.
If anything, this would be a Sherlock movie all over.
I get that impression,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like as you said, it's not something that's usually in your wheelhouse, King. Dramas don't tend to be my wheelhouse. But if a drama's acted out as well as the boys act this one out, it's very hard not to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Can you be honest and say, Ted, the very first time you seen this was due to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exact same truth for me. Applesauce, bitch. I was like, I don't get it. I was like, I don't get it. So I had to go and watch it. And I was like, oh, I get it.
That's probably the most quotable line from this film. Like a lot of films are very quotable. This one isn't particularly quotable, except that one bit.
But then again, Robin Williams has probably one of the best monologues in film when he's talking to him on the bench.
He does. Like Chucky has a really good little monologue as well. Do you know when they're having the beers?
Yeah, I like that one.
It's like, if I wake up in 20 years and you're still here, like I'm gonna kill you. That's not a threat.
Yeah.
Like I'll kill you. And he's like, I wake up every day and drive up to your house, and every day I hope that you're not gonna be there. Like,
yeah, you have a gift that most people would kill for and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Just such like, again, not very quotable, but just so well delivered and everything.
But you can tell that he's a genuine feeling for his friend, like, you know what I mean? That's what I got from it. Like, not that he was a dickhead, like he was.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like he was 25 when he did this.
Ben Affleck was
only 25. Damon was only 27. You know,
and Affleck co-wrote it, didn't he?
Affleck what?
He co-wrote
it.
Yeah. Very talented man.
And then you obviously have the great Robin Williams, Stellan Skarsgård's in it, Casey Affleck's in it, who we didn't put in the list to recast tonight.
Nice, very small role in it. So
yeah, he was a nobody really at that stage. It was literally, I'd say, because his brother was in it.
Yeah, and it worked. Like he played that role very well.
Casey turned into a good actor for himself as well. To be fair, probably always going to live in the shadow of his brother anyway. But
it would do, yeah.
He's made himself out to be a decent actor. Like.
Yeah, he's done well for himself. Yeah.
So, right, lads, are we going to send the picks in?
Yeah, send them in now.
And for the first time since the sad passing of the great Mills Lane, I am going to do it once again, lads. I went over the rules in the dressing room. I want a nice clean fight, and you know where this is going. Let's get it on.
They should be in there for you now.
That's both of them in.
I have both of them there just in case, as you said, if you haven't seen this is to verify a draw, should there be one, so that we can't have someone cheating.
This is one of the films where I feel a draw would actually be quite unlikely. They're like
Yeah.
a lot of films. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a draw somewhere along the way here, and we don't always when we say that, but this is one I'd be surprised if there was.
Last week's now, I especially thought there'd be a draw on Simon Phoenix.
Yeah, I did. I did as well. I thought I was giving that point up really.
Surely because like I obviously wasn't on the show, but I'd said to Carl off screen, the reason that Michael B. Jordan was the right pick was because he based a lot of his Killmonger off Simon Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no other pick for that.
Yeah, it was the first one in my head, and I, as I said on the show, like I was trying to go a little bit off, but I was like, there's just nobody better. Like he is perfect for that role.
And for such a good and nice guy, he plays such a good bad guy.
He's brilliant bad guy.
He is, yeah.
But anyway,
he's amazing.
That was here or there. That was last week. This is this week, lads. 7 picks. First to 4 wins it. Unless there's a draw.
Yeah. I'd
Unless
be
there's
surprised. But
yeah. Right, lads. We're gonna start with the smallest of the roles. We're gonna start with Billy here. This was the toss up between Billy and Casey Affleck's.
Yeah, Morgan, Billy and
yeah.
Morgan. Yeah.
Casey Affleck obviously went on to be the bigger name. Billy probably has a little bit more of an important role in this. Not much, but
I think Billy was probably a bigger name at this time. I think he had a few more acting things under his belt at that time. I've aged Billy up a little bit. Well, the actor up a little bit to bring him more in line with my Chucky and my Will. Because surprisingly, Billy and Morgan were both 22 in this. I would not have thought he was 22. Morgan maybe, but I didn't think the other guy was 22 as well.
He looked ancient,
he looks haggard, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's, he kind of he gives off the vibe of, you're like the local mechanic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe he gives off. And they're all up for a little bit of a scrap and whatnot. So I went,
like you just don't expect that. Like that scene where they're driving along the basketball court and he just stops.
Yeah, and there's like, right, let's get out and just scrap it out. So I kind of went for someone who I've used loads of times before, and I think he does fit into this role. I went for Will Poulter. It's the only name I had. I think he kind of fits into that, could be your local mechanic, but you could, if someone said he's good at an old scrap, like you'd be like, yeah, I believe he'd be good in a scrap, yeah.
Do you know what? I write down who you pick and who the opponent picks. I already had Will Poulter wrote down before you even wrote that.
Yeah.
Before you even said it.
Yeah, it's an easy pick for that role.
It's a safe one. Good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. And there's you giving me shit last week for picking Gosling now. Fuck you and your Gosling. Picking fucking Will Poulter.
No, I'm just saying, like, you've had Gosling as your leading man a lot. I have Poulter as a side actor a lot, but you've fallen in love with Gosling. And, nothing wrong with falling in love with Gosling.
Greg and Gosling up a tree.
Carl, do you want any points in this, or do you want to be the first clean sweep?
I'm a man of force, so you never know. Okay.
You were the first one born. You're probably the first one to lose their hair.
I'll probably be the first one to die. I know, thanks.
Right, who you got?
So,
technically, you were the first one to die.
Well, that's true, actually, yeah, for a couple of minutes or whatever, yeah.
I'm probably the first one to come back.
Damn right. So I'm probably technically younger than you all. I'm only like 1.
Fair point. Fair point.
Anyway, I wasn't sure how to age this guy up or down. But I picked someone who plays a kind of a scrappy lad. Now my backup was Cameron Monaghan.
Another favourite of mine.
He's a great actor. But I didn't go with, like, I know how old your man looked, but I didn't go with that at all. I went with, I probably didn't go in the right direction here. I went with Finn Cole from, Peaky Blinders. Yeah, Michael is in Peaky Blinders. He's a good actor, and I imagine he could do that, like, but sure. See what happens.
Well, we didn't actually get a list from Sherlock. I think it just rolled around a bit too quick for him this time, unfortunately. Man's been busy.
He's been he's reeling from that loss.
Yeah. Oh, show his face.
He's not actually talking to any of us at the minute. King, you're gonna kick yourself because I had Cameron Monaghan as my pick.
No.
Normally one I would go for there as well.
Yeah. My backup was Will Poulter.
Yeah.
I went with Monaghan just sheerly because I didn't want to keep putting Polder into stuff.
Yeah,
And two very similar actors. Polder's a better actor.
Yeah.
And he's obviously now going to be huge going into Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff.
yeah,
So I says smaller role. Cameron Monaghan probably the one to take it now.
Moving
Yeah.
from TV over into movies, yeah.
yeah.
He's a good actor as well. So
When he makes that move, he'll be huge.
He will.
Monaghan, he's like, if they want to get a new Joker into Batman, honestly, just take him. Like,
To be able to do 3 different versions of the Joker in one program was
Yeah.
just amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
if they need a new Joker, he's the one to go to. Just
Yeah.
use him.
they're going with Barry Keoghan, aren't they?
Apparently, but
In that universe,
yeah, apparently, but they should just go with Monaghan. It's that simple.
I think so.
Facts. So that's unfortunate for you. Also, on that, I had Finn Cole as a backup for a different character. So that probably wasn't going to help the argument anyway. But such is life. Champ takes a 1-0 lead.
Takes an early lead here.
And I wouldn't mind. It was probably the only thing that could have caught that would have took it off you is if he took Monaghan.
Yeah, exactly. And like Monaghan probably would. If I had a backup, it probably would have been Monaghan.
Yeah. But sure, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Right. We'll move on to the next smallest character in Clark, the dickhead.
Mm.
Applesauce, bitch.
Do you like apples?
King, what do you got?
I really was like this was such a in my opinion I thought it was a useless character. I know he had a bar. It was a good scene in the bar with him. I went with Rupert Grint, from Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Okay.
I had no backups, so
I flip-flopped on who I was going to use here. And I do get what you're saying, Carl, in that it's a very minimal role, but that scene alone makes it very memorable, and it's the entire kickoff to the whole Will and Skylar relationship.
yeah.
My backup was Pete Davidson, who I don't know. What I was thinking was,
He's not smug enough for me.
who's got a punchable face? I was like, Pete Davidson has a pretty punchable face. I like the guy, but he's got a punchable face. But he's not smug enough. And I actually went Harry Potter as well, but I went Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy.
Oh yeah.
I feel he's more punchable than Rupert Grint is.
And I wouldn't mind. He is punchable.
Like a nice guy. He
when he
an average Joe, didn't he?
Well, when
Sort of
he finished up Harry Potter, he bought an ice cream truck and just drove around with the ice cream truck. And
What, giving it out to kids?
Yeah, just giving out ice cream to kids. Like,
Oh my god,
He's done a couple of Ed Sheeran videos as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a
that's
legend.
his double.
He's a fucking legend.
So it's a Harry Potter reunion here.
Yeah.
So I went sheerly off how smug he is
Yeah.
and how he gets away with it. I had Dev Patel as a backup, but he's just far too big for this.
Yeah, too big a name.
But I went with Tony Revellini here. He's a bit younger, but and especially if you've seen him in the new Willow.
Yeah,
he plays the prince, and he's that kind of smug. Oh, I'll do whatever I want kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
He's a bit younger, but he as it says, age kind of isn't thing. You've just got to be older than 18, really.
Yeah.
18, 19 for this one anyway.
Yeah, you want him at least to be that sort of age because he's in at least his first year of college, sort of they say.
Yeah. Well, you never actually see him in the college, so he could be just there.
No,
they'd have to be 21 because they're in a bar.
Yeah, so they have to be over 21 because he's drinking in a bar, but he is in college because Will calls him out and he's like, oh, and you'll think that until you halfway through the semester,
I'd have to go Tom Felton here. The punchable face alone. I don't really like either of those picks.
I was just going for smarmy and punchable, and that's all I was thinking.
That's literally when I was doing this, I went smug bastards. Who you got? This is where I had Finn Cole as a backup.
Yeah,
that could work. Yeah, He's got a pretty punchable face as
but
well.
he was way
Yeah.
down. I like Dev Patel would have been the ideal one, but he's just far too big now.
Yeah, he's not going to take a role that small.
No, maybe when he started his career, it would have been, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
far
yeah.
too big now.
Not now.
So Champ, halfway there,
This is how Sherlock started last week, though. So
and he got his ass whooped.
yeah, then I put the beat down on him.
He got a little low blow right at the end, right near the end. So that was right, lads. You surely have to say it's Skylar next,
Yeah, I would say so.
and then keep the big four till the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, it probably is Skylar. It's a bit unfortunate that she's that low down on the list.
It'll be either Skylar or the Professor next.
It'd be
and then
or
you keep the
Chucky.
big three.
Like as important as Chucky is, he'd be next there as well. Like the two big ones are Will and Sean.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. I'd put Chucky next after Skylar, and then it'd be
Yeah,
the three, the
yeah.
two teachers, and
Yeah, I think
Will.
so. It's mad that there was 5 characters here that were so
Massive.
important to the film.
As important as each other, yeah.
Yeah.
So- Skylar up. Champ.
Yeah. So Skylar, my original thought was Mary Mouser, right? And then I looked up the actress, and I was like, I did not think she'd been in as much as she'd been in and had such a name before
Yeah,
she took on this
The
role.
Australian girl, yeah. I can't
Yeah,
remember her name now.
I just didn't think she had. I thought this was her big role. that
Who's
she's
the
gonna-
actress that plays her? Minnie Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that this was kind of her big role,
No.
and it wasn't. She'd been a name before it, which
Yeah.
kind of put me off using Mary Mouser here because Mary Mouser is still building up her name.
And you
so
know what? Sadly, I don't think she's going to go very many places. I think she might just stick a TV actress, and that'd be that.
she might do.
Nothing
And
wrong with that either, but
still going to make the money out of it, so that's all well and good. No, I went with somebody who has done TV shows, really big TV shows, and then has done films. Has kind of stepped away from the limelight a little bit at the moment, but would still be a big enough name for here. I went for Sophie Turner,
Okay.
who I think can play, the other scene where she's like crying in the bedroom when she finds out about why he has all the scars and stuff. I think she could play that quite well.
Oh, the hit me one.
No,
it's
she's just like, tell me you don't love me, And he's like, you don't want to fucking know about what happened. Like, this isn't a surgery. This is where I got stabbed. This is where you put a cigarette. You don't want to know that shit. And then like she's crying. She's like, I didn't know. I think she'd do that very well.
Yeah. King.
Sorry about that.
No, you're grand.
He's at the squeezing his brains out.
Well, I'm COVID clear, but I'm still a bit snuffly, so.
Struggling.
I went with Daisy Ridley for that one. I think she's a great actress, Straight in, no lube. There you go.
Right, well, we're going to call it 2-1 because I had Daisy Ridley here.
Really? Yeah. No, fair enough. Can't say it's a bad show.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh.
actually think of anyone else. I was actually watching something and she was in it, and I was like, you know what? She's that kind of actress where you're looking at it going, you'd believe her when she's crying. You believe her when she's happy. Good looking girl too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, can't say that there's nothing wrong with that pick. Sophie Turner was just where my head went to when I was thinking about that. I
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
that's a.
I don't know. There's something about Sophie Turner that she's a good actress. There's something about her that I don't really like.
Mm.
She just annoys me, in certain things. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah.
Then again, I'm an annoying prick anyway.
Yeah.
Such is life. Right, lads. As I said just before this one, it'll probably be Chucky now.
Yeah.
Chucky.
Ben Affleck. Would he been apart from Robin Williams, he's probably the biggest name in this.
Nah,
Maybe Stellan Skarsgård actually.
Skarsgård's bigger than him. Damon might have been bigger than him at this time as well.
But both of them had come off the same. They both come off Dogma. Oh no, Dogma was after this.
Dogma's after this, I think, but I think Damon might have been a bigger now. I wouldn't know off the top of my
Anyway,
head.
but whichever.
Yeah.
The fact that he co-wrote this as well, and he wrote himself into such a smaller part.
Yeah, that's the one thing about him. He doesn't he's taken on big roles and stuff. I'm not saying that, but it's not like he has only taken on those big roles. You know,
Yeah.
It's not always all
He's-
about him. That's what I
It's
like.
not.
about
He's not egotistically driven.
No.
yeah,
Right. So
Nice.
we're 2-1.
yeah.
It's back to the champ.
No,
Oh no,
it's
sorry,
King.
it's not. It's the king now.
Yeah,
So Chucky, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Right. I went with two. I think they're different type of actors for the. I went with Liam Hemsworth as a backup,
Okay.
and I went with Joe Keery as my main one from Stranger Things.
Joe Keery. I do like Joe Keery. Champ.
Yeah, I don't have it written down as one of my backups, but on my original list, I actually had Joe Keery down as a backup as well, for this role. But I went again, similar to with the Harry Potter thing, I went for Stranger Things as well, but with a different character. I went with Dacre Montgomery. I just think he's that little bit bigger of a name. He has Power Rangers, he has Elvis. He already has his foot in the door of Hollywood films. Do you know what I mean? But still not a huge name either.
Two good shouts, lads. I had Joe Keery as a backup,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't go with Dacre in the end. I looked at it and I flirted with the idea. I went with Timothy Chalamet here.
No.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
too small.
Too small.
Yeah.
What are you talking about,
Physically.
too small?
Physically too small. Like
I don't
Chucky's like the enforcer. He's the enforcer of their group.
Will's the enforcer of the group.
No, Will's the bad boy of the group, but he's the enforcer. Like he's always kind of the bigger guy. Will's a
No,
bit
I don't
like
think so. I think Damon's much bigger than him in this.
So in
No,
that case,
Damon's like psycho.
Dacre would be quite short, wouldn't he, in comparison to?
No, Dacre is
Yeah,
tall enough.
Well, compared to Joe
Ted's
Keery.
talking about stockiness.
Ah, yeah.
You know, I thought Chalamet fits in perfectly there. You can see him delivering the speech.
No, I
You
can
can see him doing
I can see him doing the speech and stuff, but like this guy's meant to be, you know, a working man, big builder, you know, big kind of big guy and stuff.
see
Like
what
I
you
think
mean, yeah.
I just think Chalamet could do all the acting part of it very well, but physically I just don't know if he's the imposing figure that
Maybe.
Affleck would have been even at that time. Like Affleck's huge now, but like even then Affleck was a big guy.
When I went for it, I went off the acting.
Yeah, no, and I can get that, but I don't know if I buy Timothy Chalamet as, you know,
That's fair.
He's not in the mix, so he's not in the mix, yeah.
No, but I'm just saying for like the way Greg looked at it, I'm just saying I wouldn't see Timothy Chalamet as that, you know, bricklayer son sort of thing, you know.
I think Joe Keery could bring this right back up to 2-2 and make it very interesting for the next.
It is going to bring it back to 2-2. As I had him as my backup.
Yeah, I had him there as well. Again, I felt he's a bit more of a. I kind of felt he had a bit less of the tough boy, like hard edge to him. I think Dacre has that harder edge to him, which is why I moved away from him. And Dacre already has his foot through Hollywood with having done Elvis this year and then, you know, Power Rangers and stuff. I'm not saying I didn't watch it, but like
I know what you mean.
He has that, like he's moved on from Stranger Things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
has his foot through that door. Like he has films out in 2020, 2022, 2017. So he moved on from Stranger Things. So I was like, and he's got that bit. I think he's just a bit of a grittier looking character than Pretty Boy Joe Keery, which is why I moved away from that.
Yeah, I don't know what actually took me away from Montgomery really. Because I had a list of about 5 or 6 down, and I was scribbling them out and putting them in, and
like even when you think of him in, you know, in Stranger Things, he's got that, you know, the bit of a bad boy, like bit of the bad boy edge to him, which is why I moved away from thing. But
so we'll move on. What are we thinking here, lads? It's got to be Lambo next.
Lambo next,
then, absolutely.
Then Maguire, then Will.
Yeah,
Will has to be last because it's good Will Hunting. Like
his second name should have been Hunting in this, or they should have at least went hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were both hunting him, you know.
True.
That was the
So
point.
it's got to be Professor Lambeau here, and it was Stellan Skarsgård. Probably, would you say this is his best acting role?
Yeah, I think so after watching it.
I'm trying to
Like
think
he's
of.
great. He's great in the Avengers and stuff, but it's
Yeah,
just,
I think this is a
yeah.
more prominent role even than
Yeah.
in the Avengers. Yeah,
This is
more-
probably one of
is.
his more heartfelt roles.
It's a meatier role for him.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
And I
He's
mean,
in-
like he was. Let's be fair, he was amazing in Deep Blue Sea for the 6 minutes that he was in it.
did well for what like they asked him to do in that.
What you got, champ?
Yeah, this was a kind of tough one. So I batted a few names around. As a backup, I had Peter Dinklage in the end. Because
Cool.
there's nothing to say that Lambeau is a big,
Absolutely
imposing
not, no.
guy.
It's deadly.
He's just meant to be intelligent, but
Yeah.
also like very intelligent, but also very self-conscious, you know, about his intelligence, because obviously Will is so much smarter than him. And although I really liked Dinklage and I thought he could have done the role well, and I might be taking a bit of a risk here because I know Greg's not the biggest fan of this actor, I just think this person has a better range of acting in James McAvoy. I think he just has the better range of acting and being that little bit more smarmy at times when he needs to be. I think he's a fantastic actor. Like, I know Greg's not a huge fan of him, but I think
I'll still never not say that he's not a great actor.
Yeah,
I just don't like a lot of the roles that he takes.
I know. Yeah, but I think he would fit in. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
smart guy.
That man could fit into anything.
Yeah, like he's a smart guy, but he's also, you know, he could play that smart but insecure guy as well.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a good show. King.
So I had two backups, you know, and I was thinking, you know, big actors here, just and who can play somebody like highly intelligent as well, type thing. Tom Hiddleston was a backup. Michael Fassbender was a backup, and then I went with Ewan McGregor. I think he can play that professor thing really well. Obviously, he's a great actor, you know, so I think he'd get his teeth into that role really, really well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had Ewan McGregor.
Jesus, I can't believe you had Ewan McGregor there.
And do you know what was worse, Ted? I had McAvoy as a backup.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think of Ewan McGregor because outside of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he'd kind of fallen.
That's why I started watching it.
Yeah, but other than that, he'd kind of fallen off the face of the earth.
Until he came back for Trainspotting 2 and stuff.
Well, that hasn't come out yet, has it?
Yeah.
Trainspotting 2 is out, yeah.
It's out, yeah.
Is
It's
it?
2 or 3 years old, yeah.
No, well, what I'm saying is, like,
Oh yeah, he kind of became irrelevant for a while.
it's like that.
It still has a name though. He's like
He done that.
It's like 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
He done that the Amazon show as well, where he was traveling around.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought of him because the only thing I know him from recently is that Obi-Wan show, and I was kind of like, you want a bigger name here as one of your three names on the billboard.
I still think McGregor carries a name, though. To be fair,
absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with McAvoy, but I do think McGregor would be the bigger selling name.
And
Absolutely.
even now,
definitely, he definitely wouldn't be a bigger name than McAvoy at the moment in the world of Hollywood. Not a chance.
I think
what's McAvoy done now lately?
I don't know what his most recent stuff is, but I would say he's a bigger name.
I'd be interested to see what people think in the comments.
Yeah, I think he'd be a bigger name at the moment. That McAvoy would be a bigger name at the moment than Ewan McGregor would.
Well, he loses this round, so.
Yeah, he
so
does,
McAvoy hasn't done anything since Dark Phoenix, but it looks.
Has he not?
Oh no, sorry, no, My Son.
Other than The Bubble, which came out in 2022, The Sands Between, which came out in 2021, My Son came out in 2021, 12 Minutes, which he was just a voice actor. Hit Together 2021, It Chapter 2 2019.
This is popping up on some of these aren't even popping up on this.
Like he's doing like some TV series and stuff as well. Like he's still in the business. Like he's not.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt about that.
I would say he's a bigger name than Ewan McGregor. I think people would be more aware of who he is now at the moment than Ewan McGregor, which is the way I was kind of thinking. I wanted a big name in there.
I don't know, but it's got to be 3-2.
I also think he's a better actor than Ewan McGregor.
Oh, he is. There's no doubt about that.
Which is what I wanted, because as we said, this role is very, like a very meaty role, and that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody who would sink their teeth into that role. I don't know that Ewan McGregor would.
I don't know. I like Ewan McGregor.
Yeah,
I like Ewan McGregor, and I think he did really well in Obi-Wan, but I don't know that he sinks his teeth into a role that big.
Yeah. No, I'd still think he'd go in, and like he's like we're making it's like you're making him out to be a bad actor there.
No, I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I just don't think he's as good as Skarsgård was. And
Ewan McGregor's a better actor than Skarsgård.
I would say so.
Not for that role. I don't think Skarsgård knocked that role at the park. I don't think Ewan McGregor plays that role that well.
I think that's the Skarsgård's one role where he, as you say, he knocks it out of the park, and he'll always be, everyone knows him from Avengers and all that, but I think real kind of, movie lovers will know him from this film. I think every actor has at least one role like that, so.
Or do you wish they had one role like that?
Yeah,
maybe. I'm saying, you've gone with Ewan McGregor. I'm just saying I wouldn't have thought of him there at all. Like,
as it says, I had McAvoy as a backup, as well. And it's not often I pick McAvoy for anything.
Yeah,
unless I really think he's good for the role.
I think he is. I think he'd be perfect in that role, but it is what it is.
Right,
the rules.
3-2 down.
Champ, I'm doing better than I thought I was doing. I'm going to do, actually.
You need a win and a draw. Win by default.
Yeah.
Default.
Don't know if I
Best
will.
two words in the English language. Default.
Don't know if I will, but sure, we'll see.
Would you say, and I know what you're saying, I think it was off screen, that this is probably Robin Williams' best acting role?
Yeah.
Best serious, yeah.
Serious acting role, yeah.
Yeah, like he had a few other ones, like obviously Good Morning Vietnam, which somehow gets listed as a comedy because he does a few jokes when he's on the radio.
Absolutely not a comedy.
It's not funny. Dead Poets Society, which has a bit of comedy in it, but again, another very serious role.
Another one hour photo as well.
Yeah,
I know that's a smaller one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, he has 1 hour photo and Insomnia.
Yeah, I think just around the time this came out, the kind of mid to late 90s, he had just made such a name for himself in the children's comedies. Hook, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Flubber had come out and around this as well.
Yeah, all of those, Jumanji, all of those would come out. So people only really knew him then anymore as the kind of comedy actor, which he had been in his early career. But then he went and did something like this just to show he could still do it. And
you know what he did?
Knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it out of the park well enough to win himself an Oscar. Not a bad day in the office, huh?
His only Oscar, yeah.
And then when you look at it, that monologue scene is brilliant.
Oh, everything about it's brilliant. Even the bits where he's describing how he missed game 6, like the game 6 and stuff, which
of the World Series,
yeah, which might not mean as much to us over here, but obviously over in the States, that's a huge thing. And the game he's talking about is a infamous game, so.
Yeah. So lads, the biggest name in the film.
Yeah.
By a mile at this time.
Yeah, it goes on to King here.
Oh,
it's the King.
So Robin Williams, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we not just leave Robin Williams in?
Well,
he'd be hard pressed to do any acting now.
Well, he could try.
I mean, what we could do is we could go to Honest Lab and get the Cult Family Hauntings to try and get him back, but I doubt it.
Or we could do a deceased Retrotainment recast sometime.
No, I won't be doing that.
No.
All right. So I had a couple of backups. You'd have to have a couple of backups. I had Oscar Isaac.
Don't like that.
I had Steve Carell.
About 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, and I changed last minute with one who I had as a backup. I have Benedict Cumberbatch.
You are in big trouble here, Jada. Providing
Uh,
Ted doesn't have Benedict Cumberbatch, you're in big
I
trouble.
don't. I
'cause I
don't.
hate that pick.
I don't have Benedict Cumberbatch. I had a couple of names here. One that I didn't write down because we've kind of tried not to do it too much. But in truth, he'd have been very good at the role, Matt Damon.
Yep.
Obviously,
Yep.
the issue with that was that Matt Damon had been in this, and I know we've kind of said we could do that before. Like, as long as
If
you're not
it's right.
casting as long as you're not casting him as the same person,
Mm.
it'd be fine. I thought of Fassbender here as well. I think Fassbender can play that kind of emotional role as well, as you saw him when he played Magneto. You know, like he has the hardness to him, but also that emotional side.
I mean, it'd make a great William Wallace too.
He'd make an okay William Wallace, but not as good as certain other people.
Henry, the guy who just got sacked or left The Witcher for Superman and then got sacked from that.
No,
Cavill.
he left it. No, well, he left The Witcher because they were deviating, and then the Superman thing is a bit of a joke, to be honest.
It's a joke, isn't it?
They only told him in October that he was going to do it, and told him to announce it, and then turned around and went, "Actually, no, you're not." But I didn't go for Fassbender here. What I was thinking of with this is because I actually had McAvoy as a backup as well, but I was thinking of the scene, you know, when Will is insulting his painting. And he doesn't care, and then he insults his wife, and he grabs him by the throat and holds him against the wall, and you can see the fear in Will's eyes. So it's like it needs to be someone who can portray that quite well. And I went with DiCaprio. I think DiCaprio could portray that quite well, and the acting, delivering those lines. The guy's a fantastic actor. There's no way he couldn't do this role as well as Williams. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? That man should have about 3 or 4 Oscars.
Yeah,
but not
absolutely.
for the movie that he has won.
No, he got they kind of gave him, they gifted him that one. Like he got beaten all the other times by just pure unluckiness of there being certain other things that came out.
Yeah,
he definitely deserves to be an Oscar winner, so I won't begrudge him it.
I think obviously being linked with Scorsese didn't help him too much either.
Yeah, he loved Scorsese.
I mean, Scorsese bangs out fucking winners all the time, though.
He does, yeah. There's no reason not to love Scorsese, really, but
again, there was a couple I had along the lines here. Obviously, the easy pick if you're going comedy to serious, and it's worked for him quite well in Steve Carell, but I wasn't happy with it. Didn't like it. Maybe 10 years ago. I know he's done a couple of serious ones since. So I went a little bit left field. I went with Paul Rudd here.
yeah,
I like him. He's a good serious actor as well.
Yeah.
And he can be funny.
Yeah,
and he's a good actor as well. He is a good actor.
yeah. I like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's so hot right now.
Paul Rudd is so hot right now.
He's gone.
I mean, like he's 50 odd now, and he's a big guy as well. You could believe him grabbing someone by the throat.
Oh yeah.
That's who I went with. But as I says, Cumberbatch wasn't going to be a help for you, so I'm going with Leo here.
So is that something for future reference? Yeah, you hate
No,
Cumberbatch?
No, I don't hate Cumberbatch.
Oh, just
I like
for this
Cumberbatch.
role, just for this role.
Just for the role. No, he loves Benedict Cumberbatch. He's used him a couple of times in previous episodes. That's
fair.
When you said that, I was like, no. Hiddleston might have got you a bit closer, but it would have taken a lot to beat Leo.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a good show.
But I was quite happy with Paul Rudd.
No, Paul Rudd's a good one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, lads. Match point. A draw keeps the champ ahead. Carl, you got to win it.
Okay.
Ted, you just don't lose it.
Yeah, this one could go either way because I don't really know how. As I said at the start, a young guy this age and putting on this acting performance, there's just not many of them out there. And maybe like as we said earlier, maybe people didn't know Damon had it in him at that point either. He'd done a couple of films, but they probably didn't know he had this in him at the time. So I kind of batted around a few names here. One I had was John Boyega, who I think is quite a good actor, but I don't know if he has that role in him. So I didn't really like that. I ended up settling for Dylan O'Brien, who like the main thing he's kind of done is like Maze Runner and stuff.
Teen Wolf and stuff. Yeah, I like Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah, he's done a couple of shows like that where he's kind of the lead guy. And I don't know. I'm gonna say it. I don't know that he'd be as good as Damon here, but I don't know that anybody would be as good as Damon here, if I'm perfectly honest.
This probably could have got Damon an Oscar nod as well. Really.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the running for it. He was beaten by what was this, 98?
Jack Nicholson.
He was beaten by Nicholson,
As
which
good as it gets.
That is as good as it gets for when you're losing out to someone.
That's only one that has 6 Oscars or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame when you lose to Jack Nicholson. Yeah, I don't know, like maybe a young Leo DiCaprio, but we'd have to go back to young Leo DiCaprio to find someone who's that good. Which would also then have brought back young Damon. Exactly.
Affleck.
Yeah, so you just stick them all back in. So yeah, I think Dylan O'Brien is a solid shout for there. I think he can play the emotional part well if he needs to, but he can play the kind of I'm smart, but like I'm just going to deflect everything that you throw at me. I think he could do that well, and he's got a bit of size on him, so you could believe he'd get out of that car and just start a scrap in the middle of the basketball play, like the basketball courts, like.
Absolutely, that was a gas scene. That's just one of them random scenes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's who I went with. I don't.
It's a good shout, that. Not used very often on the show either. I've used him a couple of times.
I think I've used him once or twice as well, but yeah, we don't use him too often.
King.
Okay. So I was trying to think of somebody who could be a kind of a temperamental little fucker, you know. Because, like, as you know, he has
a very troubled role.
Very troubled role.
Yeah.
So my backup is more of an actor, I think. But I think he could play a darker thing. My backup was Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
And my pick was someone that Ted picked out earlier on, and I was fucking hoping you didn't say it.
Please be Will Poulter.
I went with someone who has a troubled character in his pocket, no problem, and that's Zachary Montgomery.
Interesting.
Obviously, it would be very, very hard to get to that level of what Matt Damon does in this film, but I think he has enough to at least get into the shadow of it, maybe, So, look, I'm just even happy to be here at this stage.
I mean, you got yourself into contention being 2 down.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, that's what happened to Sherlock last week as well. He was 2 up and.
Right. Zachary Montgomery was my backup.
Fuck, I could be in trouble here.
Unfortunately, you're not in trouble.
Oh,
Dylan O'Brien was my pick.
Yes.
I also had Tanner Buchanan down.
Yeah, I'd thought of Tanner, but
he's
maybe a little young. Too pretty boy and a little bit young, I thought.
That's what moved away. Now, I did think Dylan O'Brien might be that little bit too old, but I think him and Zachary are in and around the same.
Yeah, I mean, he's 31, so like, yeah, he's a couple of years older than Thing was when he did this, but at the same time, he's not. Yeah, he doesn't look old. Do you know what I mean? He still has kind of a baby face. Yeah. Still has a bit of a baby face to him.
I actually really enjoyed him in the MTV Teen Wolf when it was on.
Yeah, he was very good in that.
Didn't like Maze Runner now, but he was good in it.
I thought Maze Runner was quite good, and it gave a lot of young actors a really big chance to stand out. Like when you look at the cast of that, you've got Dylan O'Brien as your lead, Will Poulter as one of the backups, Thomas Brody, Sangster as a secondary role, Kaya as one of the female leads in it. Your one Missandei from Game of Thrones.
There's a good few in it now. I know
it gives it like it's not a great set of films. They are enjoyable, but like the stepping stone it gave to so many people is just unbelievable. Like,
yeah, and you don't mind that as well. Like making movies, okay, they made a bit of money, great, but they produced a lot of stars.
Yeah, like what's it? Giancarlo Esposito's in it as well. Like,
Yeah, that man's a machine, though.
Yeah.
He's in
Oh,
everything, to be fair to him.
Yeah. Oh, it was just it gave such a big like stepping stone to so many people. And it had Alan Tudyk in it, so
Anything with Alan Tudyk is thing. The king is absolutely livid there. Look at him.
he's raging.
I know. I mean,
it
that was a good one. I have to
Yeah.
say. Now, I don't mind. There's been a couple of times where I've been pissed off with losing, but that was a fair one. That was, it was
the
touch and
only
go.
name, It was the only name that could have bet it.
Yeah,
really.
yeah, and I'm okay with that. Well done, champ. Well done.
Yes, continuing on.
I mean, 2-0 up, 3-2 down, and then 3-all.
Yeah. Had to pull it back out, No easy wins here, lads.
That's
I
it.
wouldn't mind. Dylan O'Brien would probably be about the level that Damon was in terms of name value at this stage.
Yeah, he might be a little bit bigger, I suppose, because he's had a few more leading roles than Damon probably had at that time.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
I think even coming out with those leading roles, Damon would still streaks ahead by the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as it says, this got him an Oscar nod.
Yeah, and that's pretty and only losing out to
Jack Nicholson.
You know what I mean?
To arguably what's probably considered by many people probably the best actor.
I mean,
ever.
Yeah,
Him,
possibly to go.
Niro,
Yeah,
Pacino, Brando, maybe.
yeah.
He's
you're
got to be in the top
27 and
5.
losing. You're 27 and losing to that.
Yeah,
no shame.
That's a good learning curve. It really
you
is.
stand there and applaud the GOAT, really, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah,
hell of a challenge.
Yeah, well, they've both been two close ones because even last week with to beat Carl, it was, all of the picks were solid in that as well. There wasn't really any bad picks last week either.
Yeah,
I actually really enjoyed the show. Now I was ashamed I was obviously working, I couldn't get onto it. And obviously it was supposed to be the week before, and we do apologize for missing the week, but sickness inherited many people's immune systems. AKA the two Carls.
Yeah.
But such is life. So that's going to bring to the end of this one, right? Next week is a little bit different for us.
Next week, Christmas,
We got to keep up the Christmas tradition, and have our guest challenge.
We'll have to bring back the Christmas champ at the moment. He's one. He's one of the people back. It has to be Rob.
Yeah, Rob, Big Rob S.
And no, we won't be
Sherlock.
We won't be recasting the first Pokemon film. I know Rob loves it, but it's not a Christmas film, Rob. We're not recasting the first Pokemon film.
And then we're going to bring in long-time listener Tom.
Yeah.
As the challenger. I'm expecting a Titanic battle in what is another action Christmas movie in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
That's a tough one.
And it is the Christmas tradition to get the guests to do it because, let's be fair, we just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, if and when we're still going, we won't go action. We might go something else.
Romance.
Well, we could go Jingle All the Way, lads.
Yeah.
God, imagine trying to recast Sinbad.
You just cast Sinbad again. Oh, Sinbad's dead, isn't he?
He's dead. He is, isn't he?
Sinbad dead? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
Anyway, that's enough of that. As it says, Christmas episode is a guest episode, so
what's
2 weeks' time, what's the
for
movie?
me and Greg? What have we got?
Okay. Well, I wanted to keep because it's Christmas time, I still wanted to keep a Christmas type film. And I thought, fuck it, I'll give you a toughie. Let's go with Trading Places.
No, I don't want to play anymore.
Greg,
but how about we
trade
trade
places?
Go for it. Enjoy it.
You're going back to your old place off the show.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's back to the regular battlers, me and Greg, the two top dogs.
Until somebody has to, Kirk, can you come in and help us out? Yes, no problem.
There's only one top dog, man.
Nah, there's two top dogs, like me and you've always battled it out. Carl had his massive losing streak and the King had to, King came in and we're very grateful for that, but You've had the big
It's
win
good.
streaks. I've had the big win streaks, and
Ooh.
Sherlock's had his big lose streak, and he's gonna fucking keep it as well.
To be fair, the King's only ever really gone sort of 3 or 4 weeks without winning one.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, no, to be fair to him, but
Sherlock's
It's a-
never going to lift that losing streak down, though.
no, but he's gonna continue. He's gonna be on a new one, an even longer one.
What happens? Let's keep Sherlock off the winning streak 2023.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Thank.
A full year with no wins for him.
No wins, Sherlock.
52 losses.
Oh Jesus, it'd be rough going. Right, but that's it for this week, and until next week, don't forget to like, share, follow, all that good stuff, and the same for the boys over on the slab for all your horror needs. But until next week, good luck.